डांस कर ले ऐसा, आई आया सुकु सुकु, श्री देवी जैसा, आई आया सुकु सुकु.
Well, I started working when I was in school, and that was my first film. But I think properly, like when I started doing my South films, I must have just passed my 10th grade. And yeah, I think I was still figuring out whether this is something I can pursue for a lifetime, because I'm not from the film industry, so I had no I had literally no mentor, I had no guiding force, I did not know how it would go. So I think also because my family, there are a lot of doctors in my family, there are lots of, they're all very, very highly educated. So I was thinking, okay, maybe I'll focus on my studies also. And if this works out, then that would be, the best thing. And to be honest, once work took off, which was when I was around 17 years old, I had literally no time to even continue my education, which became it was a hard decision I had to make at that point in time in my life, because I really wanted to study. At the same time, I was doing something that I really loved, and I could vision myself doing it for the rest of my life. So I think it was a very conscious decision. So I studied till my 12th grade, and thereafter I just couldn't continue studies. And I was a good student. I was one of the strange people who liked to study. But then I clearly loved to be in front of the camera a lot more. So I made a choice at that point in time. But I think now is a great time. Yeah, you can do everything you want to do. You can study. You can, there's no age for anything. There's no time for anything. So it's up to you where you want to invest your energy and time. And the moment you make up your mind, this is what you want to do, I think we have a lot more freedom to do it just because of sheer technology that exists. Strangely, when I started working, I think I was a lot more secure. I was a lot more confident. I was a lot more, I didn't really care of what people thought of me. I think that's probably the reason I could survive, although I was so young and I was in an industry where I didn't even speak the language, and I was working with people much older than me at that point in time. It didn't daunt me at all. I was just too much into trying to just be in front of the camera, do my job. That was so much of my energy, that what people were thinking, what they perceived of me, whether it was right or wrong, I was really not processing that at all. I think probably after I got success and I got, when I started, people started liking my work, is when I started getting more critical of myself and I started being more conscious of what I was doing. Versus when I started off. So actually that phase was much easier. Of course, making choices was difficult because I didn't know who was who. In the South Indian film industry also, I didn't know what was the body of work that the person has done. So for me, that was research, to understand why this film is good, why is this film liked by people, or this maker liked by people, or these actors liked by people, just to kind of understand that. Because that's how you make choices, right? Whether you want to do this, you don't want to do this. So first you have to figure out what's happening, what kind of an industry you're working in. So for me, the first 5-6 years of my career was just kind of exploring and understanding. So I used to watch a lot of South Indian channels on TV, because I was just trying to understand what kind of music do they like, what kind of,
Your research.
Yeah, it was basically research for me, and also knowing who is who, because I wasn't exposed to that cinema as growing up as a kid. So that actually also helped me learning the language, because just sheerly watching TV, right? So you're picking up the language while you're hearing it. And I was at quite one of those, anyway you're in that studious age.
Yeah.
So, everything becomes like a sponge, you grasp a new language much easily. I think for me, a major transition as a person and as an actor was when I had done a lot of South Indian films, and I had a lot of success and a lot of acclaim critically and commercially. And then I was transitioning or trying to do Hindi films, because that's what I grew up on.
Correct.
And theoretically those choices were, I think, were good choices, but when it actually came on screen, it had completely, gone wrong. And it was hard to see people's reaction being so negative about it. But the thing was, I knew that they were right. I didn't like those films myself either, so I knew it was a wrong decision. But soon enough, I think, which also kind of made me more aware of the duality of things in life and in the movie. movies is that right after that is when I got my most challenging and the most creatively satisfying on-screen experience, and that was Bahubali. So it was just so fast, like and I like to say that the failure is not personal, it's a film failing. Unfortunately, in our job, especially as actors, the failure of success becomes extremely personal. It's not like you're having a bad day at work. It's not like for any other person it's like, oh, I made a boo-boo at work, which is fine, which everyone does, and everyone has not such good days and has good days at work. So I think I learned how to take the failure of the film and then a success of a film to this extent. Like, so when Bahubali happened, it was like some kind of a explosion has happened, because
the love that
I got was unprecedented for me also, because I hadn't seen that in the South either. So like people like holding on to you on the roads, and they're like, how did that waterfall happen? Like people were so curious about this world that was created. So I think that phase of my life was just too much was going on, too much. So I had to just like kind of and I think I grew up really fast in that phase, because a lot of my ideologies changed while I was in that process of my
consistently, if you notice, I've tried to do is I try to look very different in my films. Like if you compare a Bahubali's get-up to a Kirti's get-up, or from Kirti to Dharmadurai, or Dharmadurai to Devi, I consciously think of how I can even not only behave differently or act like a character, but also look different, because every person looks different, right?
Yeah.
Similarly, I feel and wish that every character also should look different, because that's what will give it an edge, or give it its own uniqueness.
Edge will be there.
So I try to now I try to take like a very conscious decision and trying to even make the character look like that person.
And what about your personal life? There have been on and off gossips, but how do you handle all this?
I have the most open book in the industry. I think my life is the most open, because my life can be very conveniently divided into movies. If you go to see this from here to here, I'm doing this film. From here to here, I'm doing this film. So it's actually quite an open book. And well, I think it's inevitable. People talk, and if you do one film extra with somebody, people want to talk about how you're linked with that actor, and how, because it's the most convenient thing to do. But yeah, I mean, nothing worth talking about really.
Are you in love now? By any chance?
Not yet. That bug hasn't caught me yet.
So no marriage plans in the near future?
No. I'm very, for me right now, it was always something I wanted as a young girl, that I wanted to have, a very nice and a very enjoyable career. And I have been one of those fortunate people who has had the opportunity to do what I really want to do and what I really like to do. I don't know how many young girls who get to do that. So yeah, I'm perfectly and completely focused on my work. But I'm sure, I mean, I truly believe in marriage. And
but you will go for an arranged marriage?
I don't know, I might fall in love, or I might do an arranged marriage, that only future can tell. But I'm open to both. I'm not somebody, I don't have a preconceived notion as to what I should do. So I haven't really tapped that arena of my life yet. But yes, I do believe in marriage, and I will eventually marry for sure.